Dragon Age The Veilguard just released footage of their character creator this past week once the embargo lifted for content creators, and it is juicy. It has once more rekindled a conversation about something that has certainly never brought trolls to my page: character creation in RPGs, especially around body diversity. This is one of my pet topics though, so of course I'm gonna yap about it. Let's start by talking about what body diversity actually is, because you can get a lot of different answers to this depending on how and what you use to search. Now, I know that for some people, diversity has become something of a bad word, but the literal dictionary definition of diversity is variety, multiformity, the state or fact of being diverse, difference, unlikeness. What y'all are seeing is I actually just dyed my hair, and I diffused it. That's the word. I diffused it. So, I'm feeling pretty good about myself right now. And yes, this is my real hair. Everyone wanted to yell last time about the wig. This is her. This is the real hair. You will see the wigs again. I have several. I'm a cosplayer. Buckle up, I guess. So diversity is really just this idea that if you take two people and you put them in a room together, they'll probably have areas where they differ. That's all. Can we please use words for the things that they're meant to instead of to demonize others to make ourselves feel better? It follows then that body diversity is a super simple concept. It's the idea that we will have natural variance in our body's size, shape, ability, etc., etc. Yes, there are things about your body that you can sculpt and tweak. If there wasn't, there would be no point to preventative medicine, and definitely no point to any sort of cosmetic surgery. Those are more like installing mods on a base game than they are changing the base game itself. That's not a perfect analogy, but it's gonna have to do. So we can see with our eyeballs that body diversity exists in real life. But has that always been reflected in RPGs? Not necessarily. Many RPGs have pretty limited control over the shape and size of your body, for example, with many reflecting societal beauty standards that often are just not achievable by your average human being. Like, yeah, I could probably install the Strong mod on my base game upper body if I did a little bit more upper body workouts, but I do have a 9-to-5 job and personal obligations, so there's always going to be a limit to what I can do. I also don't have multiple excellent fitness trainers or an on-call dietitian or stylists, all things that help celebs like Scarlett Johansson maintain the body that we often see as ideal for femme people. Similarly, for my mask folks out there, probably don't have 6 hours a day, 6 days a week to work out like Hugh Jackman and have the Wolverine body. It's just not probable for us normies, and also, that last one might be a little bit unhealthy. They also tend to dehydrate themselves during the shoots, and I made a whole video about character creators and how they reflect and shape our own psychology. I won't recap that whole video here, but the basic takeaway is that while we often try to create idealized versions of ourselves that are hotter than reality by far, we can't say the societal beauty standards and the availability of features and character creators don't make a difference in how we create our characters. It's a huge limitation of the literature on this, as I mentioned in my previous video, which, if you're interested, go watch it. I do want to give it an update and a polish eventually, but not right now because I simply don't have time, and also I'm kind of waiting for Veilguard to come out so that can be my next character creator deep dive. And here is where Dragon Age The Veilguard jumps out with its gorgeous character creator that we saw in previews last week, following the embargo lift for journalists and content creators. The options in this one are pretty wild for a game of its type, including body shape and size, height, face shape, scars, and other things that naturally vary for us as humans. And of course, the hair. Because you're worth it. There are some limitations for sure. It looks like the breast and booty size can only be taken up to a certain level, which I feel pretty ambivalent about, being who I am. On the one hand, as a member of the Big Kitty Club, I would love to give my Rook a big ol'. On the other hand, I don't think it's a deal breaker to have limits in that regard. I also wonder if part of it is that you make choices on the triangle that determine the limits of the body sliders, but I'm gonna have to play around with it hands-on to know more about that. Look, I have seen a Curvy Rook with a Pixar mom booty out there, just saying. But overall, I feel really confident saying that this is one of the more customizable character creators I've seen even footage of outside of simulation games, which does track as the game director, Corinne Bush, has recently been in gaming news talking about the inspiration that she took from games like The Sims to help inform the features they wanted to include in the character creator. And you can see how this plays out, looking at Rooks that have come out of early play, even with the consideration that the folks who have gotten to playtest and preview so far have only gotten a limited amount of time with the game, and thus limited time with the character creator. I don't know if y'all know this, but I spend hours in character creation. Hours! I even come back to games like BG3 to make characters I really don't intend to play just yet, but have to get out of my brain. Anyway, I'm gonna hold on my deep dive on this character creator because, you know, the game isn't out yet, and I'd really like to spend a lot of time with it to really dig into the meat of it. This will almost certainly be the sequel to my previous video about RPG character creators that I mentioned before. We're gonna leave the sliders for now because honestly, they're all pretty typical and I'm sure I'll yap about them later one way or another. But of course, I want to talk about makeup. Yes, I love makeup. It's okay, I promise. You can have fun with it too, whoever you are. Something I immediately noticed was this glitter style changer for the eyeshadow, which, as a glitter makeup girly, the fact that this exists in an RPG without mods. And of course, tattoos. I'm stoked that they'll be letting us do body as well as face tattoos. This is a feature I really wanted in BG3, and it was fine that it wasn't there, but I was super into seeing it in the Dragon Age character creator because I remember being like, I want to be able to give my tabs cool body tattoos too. The vitiligo stuff is pretty standard. There's some higher touch customization with it than there was in games like BG3, which also had these settings, but overall, pretty standard. The scar settings in this character creator look amazing. The face and body scars alone are super cool. If you want to create a character who looks like they've been through some stuff, you can. If you want to create a character with scars you have in real life, we probably all have at least one or two. I have one on my ankle. You probably can. And if you want to create a character who just has cool, mysterious, story-related scars, a la that first rogue or ranger D&D character I know most of you have probably played at some point, you can. And importantly, if you want your character to have mastectomy or top surgery scars, you can. And if you don't, it is an option. Like all things in character creators, no one is holding you up to make a specific choice in a game. And if they are, they're also being an a-hole and you should really consider why you hang out with them. The option simply being there for someone else doesn't mean you have to use it, and it might make someone feel seen who has not before. Win-win. Thank you all for watching. Please let me know in the comments if you have thoughts on the new Veilguard character creator, or indeed character creators as a whole. Like I said, there's definitely a script, it's kicking around. I am the character creator girly, and that video is gonna live rent-free in my brain until I get it out. So keep an eye out for that. And as always, be good to yourself, be good to others, and I will see you next week. Mwah!